Welcome to the Slidecast on Introduction to Corporate Innovation. My name is Fergal Brophy. In this Slidecast, we will examine the basics of innovation, like what is innovation? Why is there so much focus and interest on corporate innovation today? How to think about or classify types of innovation? Who in your organization should innovate? And what are the innovation killers? I have included a list of my favorite resources on innovation. Any of the first 5 or 6 books in particular are bestsellers and great reads for innovation enthusiasts. I've also included references to videos, podcasts, and websites that you could subscribe to and receive blog posts. So let's start by asking, what is innovation? It's such a widely used and abused word that it can be difficult to clearly grasp its meaning. Personally, I like to think about it in the context of creativity and imagination. Creativity is applied imagination, and innovation is applied creativity. We can also think about it as the sum of invention and exploitation, and add in the concept of value by explaining innovation as a new way of doing things that adds value. Let me ask you, why do you think there is so much interest in corporate innovation today? It is an interesting question to reflect on. The reason is because we have never experienced change like we are experiencing now. Profound changes in technology, in how we live our lives, changes in politics, laws, the environment. Change. And the pace of change will never be slower than it is today. This change causes increasing volatility in the external business environment, increasing uncertainty and complexity for corporate decision makers, and increasing ambiguity for us all. Crucially, change has democratized business, and this trend will continue. Resources that used to be critical success factors for big corporates are now almost freely available to new startups, scale-ups, SMEs, and corporates seeking new growth engines. We've democratized knowledge thanks to developments like knowledge communities, e-learning, and open source. Democratized creation thanks to crowdsourcing, rapid prototyping, open source, and app models. And there's a democratization of funding and, of course, of distribution and commerce. It's also remarkable to think of how the practice of innovation has changed inside corporates. Only a decade ago, the focus was firmly on product innovation, where today's the focus is very much on business models and processes. Responsibility for innovation used to lie squarely with specialist R&D people, where today the thinking is that many are responsible for improving customer satisfaction. The clear implication is that today's corporates must look to cascade coaching throughout the organization. Innovation is now continuous, iterative and adaptive, rather than a periodic activity, where learning from experimentation and failure are deemed necessary. In the past, innovation was a very closed system, whereas today open innovation systems prevail, where partnerships are fundamental to success. And of course, there's been a whole new set of proven processes, tools and techniques like design thinking, lean startup, business model of innovation, agile, that support and guide innovation initiatives. Let's move on to talk about how we might classify innovation. One simple classification is Dublin's 10 types of innovation, which includes innovation in product model, network, structure, process, product performance, system, service, channel, brand, and customer engagement. Another way is to classify innovation in terms of core, adjacent, and transformational innovation. Alternatively, we can think innovation in the context of exploitation versus exploration, or incremental versus disruptive innovation. What about this question? Who in your organization do you think should be innovating? Should it be a very small number of mavericks? Or should it be all decision makers, which could represent 30% or more of the total workforce? Or should it just be everybody? everyone's responsibility. For me, it's a question of who wants to be involved in developing new things that add value to their company. Who has the appetite and motivation for innovation? Who is the creative, entrepreneurial mindset? Who wants to be their own hero? These are the employees that should be offered the opportunities to innovate and who should be incentivized to deliver innovation outcome. Spence Silver was a chemist at 3M who invented a super weak glue that stuck to objects but could be easily peeled off and reused. He spent years together with his colleague Art Fry looking for useful applications for the adhesive, much of it in their own spare time. Management weren't that interested, and colleagues often ridiculed them. But they had the innovator's mindset. They observed, they questioned, they created, they experimented, they learned, and they iterated. 9 years after, they developed the adhesive. Almost after much trial and error, much failure, after incredible persistence and resilience, the Post-it note was launched, and the rest, as they say, is history. Finally, it is useful to look at what stops innovation in corporates. The 6 innovation killers that leaders need to consider. Individuals. We know that some individuals are more motivated by and better equipped mentally for creativity and entrepreneurialism than others. Some groups, whether a department, a smaller group, or a larger subsidiary, are better innovators than others. Some organizations like the Amazons, the Googles, and the Facebooks are more creative than others, maybe because of their founder, their approach to recruitment, or whatever. And some industries are more predisposed to innovation than others. Media, for example, is a highly innovative industry. Yet, agri and maybe pharma and financial services are less so. And societies. Some societies like the US are more innovative than others. And finally, technology, or the lack of it, can be an innovation killer. So, I'll leave you with this quote about innovation from Seth Godin, author of Poke the Box. He said, "Our economy is not static, but we act as if it is. Your position in the world is defined by what you instigate, how you provoke, and what you learn from the events you cause. In a world filled with change, that's what matters, your ability to create and learn from change."